Yeah.
All right, well, Dan Binks, crew chief of the number 3 Corvette.
That's correct.
C6R.
Crew chief of the other 3, yep.
You had a busy off-season. You got a brand new chassis. You've installed paddle shifters. You got new steering wheel, new dash, new aero package. Tell me about that process of deciding what's going to change and how you go about doing it.
Well, after Petite, we knew we had to do some work. Had new transmission parts, paddle shifter, all the electronic system was changed. So we had some of that stuff for the Atlanta test, and then we came to Sebring twice to work through some of the bugs, and we're still having some problems with those pieces, but we're getting really close now to our package that we'll have for 2011. We're excited with all the new stuff. It seems to be working okay. So with these things, they're finicky race cars. You just gotta work through all the problems and try to make the best you can, and make sure none of that stuff will hurt you. But we want the benefit of the time on the track with the the paddle shifter makes a faster lap time. So that's why we're working really hard on this stuff.
And the drivers are adjusting well to the new systems?
Yeah, I mean, basically it's like a video game for these guys. It puts it more like a video game than it's ever been. So they pick it up really quick.
And you got a new ECU, I understand? And,
the engine management system is all new. 5.1. The 5.1 Bosch is new to us. It's not new to Bosch, obviously. But we're working through some of the, just little teething pains with that. But for the most part, that stuff's really smooth.
Now, you do a lot of computer simulations. When you were evaluating your paddle shift system, were you looking at different vendors or manufacturers and deciding which one was which, or how do you choose what you're going to go with?
Well, we choose the Mega Line because they work good with our transmission that we currently use, the X-Track, and they've got a long history with Mega Line, so that's why we picked them. Through some of the simulation stuff, we can see it's faster on the laps because it shifts faster. It downshifts quicker. It upshifts about the same as the driver can do it. So it's small amount of lap time, but it is faster. So that's obviously it's easier on the parts and it makes a faster lap time. That's what we want.
Both cars last year at Le Mans were running really well, but both of them appear to have oil starvation problems, I think is what we ended up hearing, although one of them you could blame a Peugeot on the oil starvation problem. But have you really delved into that and discovered what was going on? Was there valve issues? What was the...
Well, there was a couple of engine issues, unfortunately. When you're pushing these things as hard as we do, things are bound to happen. So, the guys at General Motors go home, look at what they have. We try to help them as much as possible. And, they bring the best engines that they know how every week. And, we try to be careful with them, but, careful is a relative term with these, guys. We're pretty rough on them, actually.
Right.
So, we beat the daylights out of them. Hope they make it.
And speaking of the incident last year at Le Mans, I understand you guys were testing a proximity alarm at Petite right before Petite last year. Is that something you're able to run this year?
We haven't perfected it yet. We've got actually a different sensor. We're working with the company that's writing the software for it. Right now, it can't predict the difference between a P car or a car that we already passed. So that's the hard part is telling the drivers who's coming. And with the sensor that we have now, it can't distinguish with somebody that we just passed because they're close as well to somebody that's coming. So we're working on software to say, hey, that car, don't look at that car, look at this car, and it's hard to do.
I understand that we're running E10 this week.
Yep.
As the guy that's responsible for the engines and all the system, at what point was that decision made, and how much time did you really have to put it all together?
Well, we told the engine guys at sort of at the last minute. They'd been doing both. They'd been doing E85 and E10 and then we were waiting for the rules to come down on which one we wanted to run for Sebring. And basically 2 weeks ago, we had to order the fuel over here. So at that point, we thought the E10 was going to be better. So that was the decision. Sometimes those decisions are hard to make, and you just have to time limits what you can do, and that's what we did. So I think we're in pretty good shape for the race. A few other cars have switched to E10, and we'll just see how it works out.
And as the crew chief, you're going to be communicating with the new driver in the seat this year. How does that change how you do? He's obviously new to Corvettes. Is it change your game somewhat? Going from him, you know, you had Johnny O'Connell, which you've been with for
a long
years
time.
and years. So
Yeah, Johnny and I went back to the end of '02. So, you know, dealing with Milner here, that's going to be not much different on my end. I spot for the guys, so my style doesn't really change much. You know, if he says I need something a little bit different, then, you know, in the information, maybe that would come up. But for right now, you know, most of the time they don't say much on the radio. I just tell them what I see and try to give him as much information, and he just lets it rip. He's doing a great job so far.
well, Dan Binks, good luck this weekend. We're rooting for you.
All right, thanks a lot.
We'll be sure to follow.
All right, thanks to all the bloggers.
Thanks.